Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Wednesday, May 28th. Investors continue to parcel through the latest earnings and the latest on tariffs after stocks started off the shortened trading week on a strong note yesterday. All three major indices notched gains. The Dow climbed 740 points, or more than 1.75%. The S&P 500 jumped 118 points, or more than 2%. The Nasdaq advanced 461 points, or just about 2.5%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're positive. We're up 0.05%. So, we were negative earlier this morning, and then, around, 6:15 or so, they turned positive, and they've been ticking in the green ever since. So, that's good to see. I mean, the key event for today, without any question, is the earnings report this afternoon after the bell from NVIDIA. That's what everyone's going to be paying attention to. That's the key one for the markets. On the economic front, we do have the FOMC meeting minutes. They're going to be released today. They're going to be released in the afternoon. I would do want to point out the pharma sector is on watch as President Trump is expected to sign an executive order on prescription drug pricing today. Also, I need to point out that there's a host of companies having shareholders meetings today, big companies, Goldman Sachs, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Meta, and Meta shareholders are going to be able to vote on a key child safety resolution for the company. That could be something. On the earnings front, we had earnings from Macy's, Abercrombie and Fitch, and Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS. They're, showing gains. That's nice. After the bell, NVIDIA, Salesforce, SNPS, VEEV Systems, LG, Hewlett-Packard, HPQ, Pure Storage, PSTG, and AI, C3AI, Apple India. They're all coming out with earnings after the bell. Those are ones to watch. Turning our attention over to Europe to see the action over in Europe this morning. I mean, you look at Europe, and Europe is, lower. I mean, you got the DAX down 88 points or 0.37%. There was some, positive action going on in automobiles and defense stocks, but it's only down 0.36%. That's not significant. The FTSE, on the other hand, is flat to lower, down 0.06, and the CAC is down 0.08. I mean, these are minor moves. I mean, oil stocks are kind of displaying some positive action in London and in France. The French economy grew by 0.1% quarter over quarter in Q1 2025, which rebounded from a 0.1% contraction in the previous quarter. Turn our attention over to Asia. Nikkei, I mean, it was flat. I mean, 0.00. I mean, it was down 1.71%, but essentially it closed flat on the day. I mean, sentiment was kind of weighed down by a rebound in Japanese government bond yields. And you look at the Hong Kong market, and the Hang Seng fell 123 points, or 0.53%. There was some weakness in financials, consumer tech stocks. Shanghai in China fell 0.02%. I mean, that's minor. EV stocks, remain under pressure. There's growing concern over potential price war and tighter regulations coming up for that EV sector. And then you took a look at oil this morning, and oil is trading higher. We're looking at oil, and it's up, up almost 1%. You got WTI at $61.47 a barrel. You got Brent at $64.68 a barrel. That's up over 0.9%. The key issue really here is, President Trump talking about fresh sanctions against Moscow. They could be unveiled this week. I mean, they could be crippling their oil sales, which would lead to lower output. But you also have that OPEC decision coming later this week. So, it's a hard game of catch between these two issues. But right now we are seeing gains in oil stocks. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
Bill, when we talk about overarching headlines, you did mention a few key items in your opening, including those Fed meeting minutes, but also when it comes to earnings action, all eyes are on that NVDA report due after the bell, as you told us. But there were a number of earnings, retail earnings, that are worth noting and looking ahead, as you gave us a preview, a number when it comes to tech. So let's start with earnings action. Bill, what is going on there?
Start off with Dick's Sporting Goods, ticker DKS, David Kilo Sam. They beat by 3 cents. They did that on higher revenue. That stock's up 2.74%. Talking Abercrombie and Fitch, ticker ANF, Apple, Nancy Frank. They beat by 26 cents on higher revenue. ANF is up 26% this morning. And you got Macy's, which beat by a penny on higher revenue, but their guidance was horrible. But the stock's up, about 4% this morning. I mean, it was lower. Now it's trading higher. So that's kind of good to see. After the bell today, you got Salesforce.com, ticker CRM. Their EPS is $2.54 and expected move is 8.26%. You got NVIDIA, NVDA, their EPS is 86 cents, expected move is 7.85%. And then you got LG and ticker A as an Apple. Their EPS is $1.27, expected move is 9.03% when they release after the bell today, Emily.
Bill, as those hit the tape, you'll see them because you have an earnings alert on your NewsWare, so you're able to follow all of those reports and gather them very quickly. Speaking of gathering information, right at the look of your screen, you're able to gather economic reports as well, including those Fed meeting minutes. So, Bill, give us a rundown of everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
Well, I mean, at 10 a.m., you get the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index, but at 2 p.m., you get the FOMC meeting minutes. Also at 4:30, the API oil stockpile estimates are going to be released. This is a day later than normal. And then, earlier this morning, Neil Kashkari of Minneapolis Fed, he was giving a speech. I haven't caught up on that yet. Yesterday, action, I got to tell you, came in better than expected. That durable goods order for report showed a decline of minus 6.3%. That's so much better than the expectations of a drop between 7.8 and 8.3%. So yeah, that was in effect positive, even though it was a drop. And consumer confidence rose for the first time since last November. I mean, it rose by 12.3 points, mainly due to the aspect of the China-U.S. Trade talks, not Trump lifting and changing the tariffs on China. That did really affect the confidence, and that's why you saw a gain. And it came back to where it was in November of last year, so that's positive. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic reports, Emily.
Bill, again, another area that you're able to watch using your NewsWare alerts, and you're still able to follow more market moving information. You set up alerts for things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news. You're able to look at stocks grouped together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. And if earnings action and economic events weren't enough, Bill, there's still some market moving information. So what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 15 higher, 12 lower, 3 unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. Meta's showing some weakness. Everything else is, seeing some gains. So, that's semi-positive. Looking at the news behind the tape, like Apple, they're launching a self-service repair for iPads and expanding their repair programs. Amazon, that tech integration deal that they did with Stellantis appears to be falling apart. Google, Apple, Texas governor signed a bill requiring Apple and Google to verify ages of users in their state. Tesla, Tesla's ready to launch those robo-taxis in Austin, Texas next month. Government officials, though, they're still waiting on some safety data details. That could prevent the launch. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're talking Chevron, CVX. U.S. grants Chevron a narrow authorization to keep assets in Venezuela. Honeywell, they elected Mark Steinberg from Elliott to their board of directors. Travelers Group, TRV, they're going to be selling their Canadian insurance business to Defini, DFY, for about $2.4 billion. In terms of guidance news, Macy's, this is what I'm talking about. Macy's sees Q2 adjusted EPS coming in 15 cents to 20 cents, where the street estimate had it at 33 cents. That's a big downtick. Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS, they back full year 2025 revenue of 13.6 to 13.9 billion. Street estimates 13.86 billion. It's in the middle. Okay. Capri Holdings, CPRI, Charlie Paul, Richard India, they see Q1 estimates coming in 10 cents to 15 cents. Street estimate had it at 10 cents. That's kind of an uptick. shareholders meeting. Goldman Sachs, ticker GS, they're having their shareholders meeting today at 11 a.m. Chevron's holding their shareholders meeting at 10 a.m. ExxonMobil's having their shareholders meeting at 9:30 a.m. And Meta Platforms is also having their shareholders meeting at 1 p.m. today. That's going to be a key one. And you look at Meta, that's the one stock that's trading lower of the FANG stocks this morning. In terms of buyback news, Fortive, that's ticker FTV, Frank, Tom, Victor, they authorized a 550 million special purpose share buyback. And that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
I'm going to go with Micron, ticker MU. It's all about NVIDIA's earnings. I don't want to play NVIDIA, but I think Micron could do well off of the momentum. The DRAM prices are still pretty solid. You look at yesterday's call volume, 176,000 to 114,000. That's positive. You're looking for an entry price. I'm thinking like 96.50, to be honest with you. If I can get it 96.50, I think that would be a good entry price to at least get a 1% gain sometime throughout the day. So that's my pick of the day. MU, Michael, Uncle, Micron, Emily.
Micron, it is MU, sort of piggybacking off of NVIDIA's earnings due out this afternoon. We will follow that one along with you. And coming up, we will check in on yesterday's pick of the day before we sign off. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
GE, ticker Grace Edward, GE Aerospace CEO says gratified to be part of the president's state visit to Qatar. He supports the directive the White House is taking to revitalize manufacturing. And a story out on Paramount. Remember, Paramount owns CBS, and Sherry Redstone, who is really the key shareholder there, she's in a tough spot because if she settles with Trump, it opens up, the headline says opens up Pandora's box on bribery, because they did a report on 60 Minutes did a report on Kamala Harris. Trump didn't like the way it came across, said that they edited incorrectly, and now he's threatening legal actions from the FTC and the Justice Department on Paramount. Paramount needs to get this deal done where they're trying to sell the company to Skybridge, I think it is, Ellison's son, and that's gonna cause a real wrinkle. So Paramount under pressure. What else do we see? VENU, Victor Edward Nancy Uncle, Venue Holdings to join the Russell 3000 index. That's going to happen June 27th. EW, Edward Life Sciences gains after Boston Scientific ends worldwide sales of one of its drugs. Toyota Motor plans to increase plug-in electric vehicles from 2.4% to roughly 20% of U.S. sales volume. TM type Toyota Motors. Let's see what else we got going on here. Teva TVA, they received fast track designation for its investigational celiac disease drug. The head of the world's largest aircraft leasing company has called on President Trump to renegotiate an expanded duty-free trade agreement for the aircraft industry to include newcomers like China in a new lobbying twist to the trade war. Ford's doing a recall of about 1 million vehicles over an issue that may prevent rear-view camera from displaying images, increasing the risk of a crash. General Mills, GIS, said yesterday that it's going to record a charge of about $70 million in the current quarter, mainly reflecting severance expenses as part of their restructuring efforts. Robinhood, ticker HOOD, said that the online broker said that it's expanding its desktop platform into the UK. That's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Kingsoft Cloud. That's ticker KC. Now, they did release earnings this morning. I did see it just hit the tape a few minutes ago, and still looking for some more details on the currency conversion. You were looking at this one ahead of this report yesterday, hoping for a specific entry point to get a gain from there. How did your call work out?
It didn't work out. I mean, the stock opened up at 13.25, fell to 12.74, and closed at 12.90. Trading lower this morning. I mean, on an annual basis, of course, the stock is showing strong earnings result. But if you look quarter to quarter, it kind of decreased by about 10%. These are unaudited, filings. But Kingsoft KC did not work out yesterday.
But as you say, Bill, we live to trade another day, and we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Micron pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Vani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.